You how I'm going to create a double exposure. I'm going to be using this image of my best friend Lynn and converting it to black and white so I can print it inverted for cyanotype. But I'm also going to do some other small things to create that double exposure. So I'm going to use my pen tool to kind of isolate my person in this image. You can be as detailed as you like. I really just want to focus on her hair a little bit, and if I really need to, I can go ahead and zoom in, and that's gonna help get me, a little small place to work with. I don't really need the entire background because that's really not my focus. I'm actually going to go for more of just her, the portrait. That's really what I want to focus on, and that's really the part of my story that I want to focus on, the people and places that I'm thankful for in my life. So she is one of my close friends out in Las Vegas. Weirdly enough, I met her through social media, and in a weird way, we just became really good friends. She's a really creative person. She's a nurse by day. But yeah, she and I love to create together. So currently what I have is a path made from a bunch of points. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is right click, make a selection out from it. Now I currently have her selected. I'm going to go ahead right here at the bottom and create a mask so that I now just have a pretty much empty background. I'm going to create another layer, and that layer is going to go ahead and be white so that I can kind of see things a little bit more clearly. So now I just have her in my actual image, so that works out great for me. At that point, I'm going to go ahead and desaturate it because I don't need color. It's not going to print out in color. It's going to print out using black and white. So once I have that, I can go ahead and work with my brightness and contrast. Cyanotype works best when it's high contrast as an image, and brightness never really will hurt, so that I can start to see some of the features of her. So I have that as an image. Now she's out in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas, weirdly enough, is a very special place to me. Not just because she's there, but my grandmother loved Las Vegas, and my late grandmother. And when she passed, or before she passed, she mentioned, I would like a little bit of me to stay in Las Vegas. So her ashes are currently in Las Vegas, as that's where she wanted to be left. So a little bit of me is always going to be in Vegas. So I'm going to go ahead and find my image of Las Vegas that I took a little while back. And you never really know when these pictures are going to kind of, come in handy. So I'm going to work with this image right here. And that's essentially where my grandma is currently. I'm going to go ahead and get this image to be completely desaturated so that it is completely black and white. I'm going to get my move tool, drag it over, and drop it. Now this image is quite large, so I'm going to go ahead and size it down so that I can try to fit it within my picture of Lynn a little better. So right there, I am okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and change these layers a little bit to screen, and at that point I can go ahead and kind of move these images around as I see fit, which I think is really cool because you can kind of see the Las Vegas skyline a little bit with her in it. So I'm going to play a little bit around with brightness and contrast to both her and the cityscape, but I don't really want too much craziness happening. So I'm going to mess around with the brightness, darken it a little bit, see how it looks a little bit brighter. I can also resize it if I don't like it how I see it. So if I really wanted to, I can go ahead and do this. And now she's got the Venetian tower right there by her. I also took another image of the Paris Hotel. So I might see if I can incorporate that one a little bit into my image. So I have that one at the moment. I'm going to go ahead once again and desaturate that so that it is completely black and white. I'm going to drag it over to my canvas or my image. It is still a really large image, so I'm going to go ahead and downsize it just a little bit so that I can fit the tower that you see there. Going to change the layer to screen. Now, visually, that is a lot of information. So I might go and adjust the level so that just the black kind of appears in my image. Very faint. But double exposures can be, quite pretty fun. So this is not the normal way to create double exposures, but this is typically how it's done after taking photos, post-processing, and it can be done in Photoshop, as you see I'm doing right here. So that's currently what I have. I'm not quite sure if I feel good about it. It's a little crowded. I could probably, maybe pick one over the other, but I feel like that one's not strong enough. So I might go with leaving that right there for my image. So I'm okay with that now. I do want to darken her a little bit, and we're going to kind of see, if I can get her, just a little bit darker so that some of these features from the city of Las Vegas can kind of pop out a little better. I'm actually okay with how that looks, and I really do love that the tower is kind of hitting her eye just a bit. So I might leave it like that. The last part that I really have left of this essentially is essentially just kind of moving it over to a canvas size that's going to fit where I plan on printing. So I'm going to go ahead and print it out on regular paper size. I'm going to go ahead and merge my layers, the ones that at least are visible. I'm going to drag it over and drop and scale it to fit my paper. So currently I have that, and I don't want to get anything too crazy, just move it over, and then maybe I'll have to enlarge it just a little bit. I do want all of her showing as best I can, and there you go. She is now essentially ready to print. I just now have to invert her. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and Invert. When you print in cyanotype, it does not work the photo positive. You have to use a photo negative in order to get the sun to hit those areas of white. Those areas of white will allow the sun and the UV rays to hit the photosensitive paper, and they will react and then in turn darken. The areas of black, send back UV rays. They kind of block them, and the light doesn't really quite hit that part of the paper very well. So that is what we are trying to go for. I wouldn't say make it darker, it exposes it so that those parts do show up. So this is essentially how I have gone and photo processed or post-processed my images in order to get them to work for what I need. So each of those images that I do have in my teacher showcase have gone through this particular process. So thank you all for joining me, and have a great day.